I'm Dominic Walker, JMW's Inside Man. My guest is Stephen Taylor Heath. Stephen is the head of sports law at JMW Solicitors. So there's these press reports, and presumably following the success of Ted Lasso, Apple TV now are dipping their toe into sport by the looks of things. What's happening, Stephen?
Well, the reports at the moment are primarily in relation to American sports like baseball and the fact that they're seeking to acquire substantive rights. Like most sports, baseball package their rights in relation to certain viewing times and certain tournaments. And they look like they're going to be bidding for certain package rights in relation to baseball and possibly other sports to complement their offering, which at the moment doesn't really include sports.
Stephen, do you think there'll be a shift then from the more traditional broadcasters, terrestrial TV and satellite broadcasters, to streaming services like Netflix, Amazon, and also Apple TV?
Well, Dominic, as you can probably tell, I remember acting for sports promoters at a time when the only game in town was terrestrial TV before the internet. Then when the internet came along, sports promoters thought to themselves, perhaps they could actually broadcast their own events with their own platform. Then came the disruptor of Sky with Sky broadcasting and satellite. The next stage was obviously BT and cable broadcasters. And now you have these streaming services, which are massive disruptors in the market because of the amount of money that are at their disposal. At the moment, most of them don't particularly focus on sports package rights. But you do have Amazon Prime, which has in this country some of the rights in relation to Premier League football. And clearly it would appear that now Apple are going for it in relation to baseball and going to focus on those rights.
I notice you use this term disruptors in the market, Stephen. Do you think it's good for the consumer that these new streaming services are disrupting the market? And I know that you act for broadcasters and for rights holders as well. How can you help with these sorts of agreements?
Well, in terms of the market, by having all of these disruptors, you obviously fragment the market. And if you want to be able to watch the content, say all of the matches in a particular competition, then you have to subscribe to various different services. You also have to make sure that you can obtain those services. So where it's streaming, you have to make sure that you have a broadband connection, for example, that will take the streaming and it's always cutting out, which at the moment does seem to happen with services like Amazon Prime. So more competition means it's better for the sports rights holders because obviously they've got more players that want to acquire those rights. For the consumer, it means potentially having to subscribe to more channels and therefore being more costly to watch the same content. But if you're acting for the broadcaster, which we do, then the broadcaster needs to make sure that they acquire the rights that they need to acquire for the broadcast that they want to make. Is it a live broadcast? Is it pay-per-view? Is it going to be delayed? Are they going to show repeat showings? Do they want the rights for a certain period of time? Do they want to assign those rights or subcontract those rights? Also, there are various issues in broadcasting with piracy and the like, and taking steps to avoid that. If you're acting for the sports promoter, then the key thing is to make sure you're only giving away the rights that you want to give to that particular broadcaster, so you can carve out other rights that you would contract with other broadcasters to provide. So the Premier League, for example, has agreements with various different broadcasters where they've gone to auction in relation to packages of rights. Different broadcasters have acquired those different packages, and you need to make sure that the agreements you have with those broadcasters complement each other.
Stephen, thank you very much for your insight. And if you'd like to contact Stephen, you can email insideman@jmw.co.uk or call 0161 82 81 999. I'm Dominic Walker, JMW's Inside Man.